Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Dashboard Masterclass. Sorry for the delay. It seems that there was an issue with my internet today. So before we start, I want to thank you all for joining the session. I was trying to have it live on YouTube. I'm not sure that it is working or not. That's my first time doing it on YouTube. But again, if you feel that you cannot join via Zoom, you may try YouTube. Search my channel and find it there. This session is going to be recorded. Let me turn on the recording. So again, welcome to this session and thank you for joining. Sorry to be, to have a bit of delay. I'm trying my best. As usual, the internet is not working when you need it most. So I try to have it on the YouTube as well, live. I put my channel link on the in the chat box. If you want, you can join it via the link and subscribe to my channel. It is a completely new channel I created. So it's good to be here. And before we start, I want to ask you a few questions. What do you expect from this dashboard masterclass? So it is something, I don't know, you have done it before, or it is the first time you are thinking about dashboard. Is this just something you want to do for your assignment, or you want to go a bit further? And what is your expectation? So if you don't know how to, respond to this question, there is a website, www.menti.com, and use the code provided on the top, 91234612, and you can type in your response there. So hopefully we can get something very good out of it. So you want to have a bit of creation to learn more about Excel, be able to do the assignment. That's a good one. How to start the assignment. The deadline is very close and you should have done that before. Get good marks, definitely. So a few of them want to do better in your assignment. You learn about the full process. That's the thing that I promised that I would deliver. Design a dashboard, professional dashboard from scratch. Learn how to create an engaging dashboard display. First time I'm doing this, I want to develop my competency. That's good. Hopefully, we can achieve all of that. Hopefully. So we are expecting that all of you be able to create something like this at the end of the session. So this is the expectation, and we are going to work on the data set that is provided on the unit website or email to you, to some of you that contacted, and you already have the raw data set. So before we go further, let me close this page as well. Cancel. Okay, before we go a bit further, I know that what you are expecting from this session. Let me ask you a question. What is a dashboard? When someone asks you, what is dashboard? What do they mean? So can you please type in your answers there? So please note that this session is going to be recorded and it is going to be live on YouTube. If you have any, if you want to talk or want to say something, you can unmute yourself and share it with the rest of the audience. So dashboard is a summarized visualization of data set used to analyze information for business. Let me tell you a bit of the story. Where did it come from? The dashboard, the whole concept of dashboard came from the auto industry. It was when the driver is sitting there, they want to see all different parts, aspects of the car in just one frame. You know, the oil, the water, the temperature, the speed, and everything. So And people started to adapt that concept into business, thinking about how they want to, see different aspects of their organization in a single sheet, at a single sheet. So that's how the concept of dashboard was developed. So, and again, it was very helpful. It has helped companies, especially managers, with their decision-making process. They help us to know what's going on in different aspects. So let me read a few of the other information. A graphical user interface. No, it is not just a graphical user interface. Most importantly, it is not a user interface. It is more inside the company. The users, usually they don't have access to dashboard unless we provide them. A one-page doc meant to give you a good overall look at the data set. Usually it is not a document. It is more interactive. We are expecting it to have some interactivity there. So ways of visually representing big data, that's correct. A report of important values and comparison in a data set, represented by charts and diagrams, that's very good answer. Overall look at different aspects of organization, project, goal, very good answer there. So an understandable interactive way to display information of the business, that's very good. So the whole point is we want it to be interactive. And what we mean by interactive, assume that you have created a dashboard. So let me show you this dashboard that I created for the purpose of this masterclass. You can see it in a single sheet. You can see different aspects of that company that I'm going to introduce. And it has some interactivity there. By clicking on different slices, you can compare and comparison something. Like in this example, if you click on the bronze, it updates the information based on the bronze credit card holders. Or click on gold, everything changes. Or you can see that what's going on for the customers that are less than 30 years old. The data set updates automatically and it is completely interactive. You can see that different aspects of this dashboard changes according to what what slicer we pick. So that's the basics. So that's the final piece that we want to see. But before going there, we need to understand our data set. So let me open the raw data set that you have. Oh, seems that my Excel is not working. It stopped working. Okay. So hopefully my computer will not let us down today. If by any chance I get disconnected, I will reconnect. So to have an interactive dashboard, we usually need two things going on. So one is using slicers based on the type of data, if the data is categorical, or we can have a timeline. Those are the most important ways that we can make dashboard interactive in Excel. So everything that we learn here today is in Excel. So we are not going to be very fancy going to Power BI or Tableau for the purpose of my unit 171 and a basic introduction to Excel. So if you had the chance to look at the data set, it is a data set given to you. The name of the company is Finance Tech. Finance Tech is a fictitious company. I created the data and data set and everything about it. Before we go into creating the dashboard, we need to know what's going on within the data. So I have provided a bit of details about what type of data you are going to see. It has the ID of the customers, 1 to 200, a sample of 200 customers. Then we have age of the customers in years, how old are they? We can put them into groups, group of less than 30, 30 to less than 40, 40 to less than 50, and 50 or more. So a few age groups there. Then we have the state that the customer is in, the state or territory. Then we have the monthly income of the customer, the amount they have spent on transport, on rent, on groceries, healthcare, entertainment, and eating out. Then we have a total monthly spending plus how much they can save at the end of the day. So all of their costs came out of their income. So there is a surplus, we call it the saving. And we ask them about the type of credit cards that they have. So some of them have bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, and many of them don't have any credit card. So that's it. And this is the data set provided to you. Hopefully all of you have seen this already. So let me zoom in. Hopefully you can see my screen very well. You know, the zoom and the fonts, everything is all right. I would be thankful if I ask a question, you type your answers there saying yes, no, something in the chat box. I want everyone to be awake. I know it is Friday afternoon and you're sleepy, I'm sleepy. So can you see my screen and the font and everything is readable? Yes, so perfect. So we have a few people that are awake. Good, thank you guys. So let's look at from left to right. We have ID going 1 to something. We have age, differs in values. We have a state or territory. We have their income. We have the spending on different things. We have the total spending. It's the total of all of the other columns. We have this monthly saving, and then we have the type of credit card that they have. So let me make it a bit larger for some of you. Better? So these are the things that we have. And my expectation is you create something like this out of this data set. So how we are going to do? Let's follow the steps. If you have the data set, open the data set and we are going to do these steps together. If don't, you can just watch what we are doing, learn about it, then the recording will be uploaded. You have access to the recording, and then you can watch the recording, pause, and follow the steps if you like. So it is up to you what way you want to do that. So that's my expectation at the end of the session. So let me delete this sheet. Oh, let's leave it for the moment. So before we do anything, we need to format the data and make it ready. So let's select the whole data set. You can use Command A or Control A on Windows computers and select everything. After you select it, we can say format it as a table. You can pick the color that you like. I am going to go with the blue. So I pick blue. I said my table has a header. Now we can see that that's our data. We know that all of these values, income, spendings, and savings are all dollar values. I am going to change the value format to currency. So let me go home and change it to currency. I don't need any decimal points, so I get rid of all of the decimal points there. So that's what we have at the moment. Let me change the table formatting and make it something a bit different so my eyes can more easily follow it. So I made it this way. So that's just a simple format. So we have this data set now. We put it in a table. Let's name the table. I name it as the data table. So I have a table that has my data. Oh, it doesn't like it. Depending on the version that you are using, sometimes it doesn't like the space or something in between. I put it as data table. I named the table data table. It didn't understand data space table. So if you look at the data description, you can see that we have age groups that can be very helpful when we want to create slices. At the moment, there is nothing like that in our raw data, but we have some hints. The hint is, it says that we have a few groups. We have less than 30, 30 to less than 40, 40 to less than 50, and 50 or more. So we can insert a column, name it age band or age group, and then we try to fill it with the values that we want. So there is two ways, at least two ways that you can do it. One way is sorting based on their age. Anyone who is less than 30, you put it in group 1. Anyone 30 to less than 40, put it in group 2, and so on. That's a simple way. You say, like, this group, I name it group 1. Then I copy it for all of the people who are under 30. Now, it didn't work. Group 1, then you have group 2, and so on. You can do that. There is another way, a bit more professional, is using a formula. If you write a formula, then you can ask Excel to create that. So I am going to use a function. Let me put it back into order. That's right. I am going to say if the value that is in the age less than 30, then put them in a group called less than 30. That's just the title, group 1. So if we close it, it is going to put all of the less than 30 in the group of less than 30 and fill the rest with false, because that's false. 40 is more than 30, so it puts it. Then we can have another if here. Then we say that if it was not less than 30, it may be less than 40. So we use another if function inside the previous if. We call it nested if. So one is nested inside another. If, again, this is less than 40, put them in a group called 30 to less than, come on, it's not typing, less than 40. Then we can have our third group, another if. Again, age is less than 50. We put 40 to less than 50. Otherwise, if none of them is correct, put them into a group of 40, 50 or more. We close it. We close all of the parentheses. There are a few of them open. You close them, and now it is filled. We can check to see if it is correct or no. Like 53 is in the group of 50 or more. 44 is to 40 to less than 50, and so on. So guys, that was our first step. Any questions about that? If you have any questions, please type in the chat. Otherwise, say no question. Say something I know that you are listening. No question. That's good. So what we did is we create some nested ifs. So to have that nested if, I said that if the value of age is less than 30, put a label called less than 30. Otherwise, another if is provided. So I'm going to copy and paste it in the chat box for you. So you can use it, copy and paste it. If you have created the table, it would be easy for you to copy and paste it in there. So let's have a few seconds so everyone catch up. Everyone does that. So that was this step. So now you have something like this. Let's do something. You know, always when you are trying to create a dashboard, you need to have a bit of feel of data. What's going on with your data? What's happening? You know, what are the limits? Everything about your data. You need to know. But we don't know. We just saw the data. That's what I was saying from week 1. You do descriptive analytics on your data. So let's do some descriptive analytics on age. Then you understand what I mean by some descriptives. Then you can use it to describe all the other variables as well. Okay. So let me copy these 2 columns at the moment. Create a sheet called age and put everything there. Let me zoom in so you can better see what's going on. Now you have this data. So we want to have a bit of description of the data. We want to create something like this. So we want to have all the descriptives. We want to have a few data visualization to know what's going on with our data. So here, first of all, I want to do some descriptives. I go to the data tab. I go to the data analysis toolpack. I pick the descriptives, descriptive statistics, and then it says that input range. I pick my input range. I select the whole age thing. Sorry guys, my computer is very slow today. Hopefully you are not seeing this much of a lag there. So I select age. I said labeled in first row. I am picking an output range. I'm saying that I want the output to be here. Hopefully it will open. I ask for summary statistics and I click on OK. It gave me something like this. First step, you need to make it a bit nicer. So you select the data points with decimal points. You go home and format it as number. Now you don't have any excess values, excess decimal points there. So you can see that the mean age is 47.98, or the median is 47. And something that you need to check is count and see that it is 200. So you're not missing a data point. Everything is there. All good? Some other things that we want to calculate. We want to calculate quartiles. Hopefully you are familiar with quartiles. We use the quartile function. We select our data set. We say quartile 1. And now we have our quartile 1, 41. You can have the same formula and say that it is for Q3. I want the same. Let's change it to quartile 3. And then I can have the quartile Q3 minus Q1. So we have this data, we can format it and have something like this. So if you are asking about your assignment 1, no, you do not need to do any of these descriptives. That's a definite answer. So in your assignment 1, you just submit your dashboard. That's it. But again, you need to understand your data. If you don't understand your data, the dashboard you create probably doesn't show all of the necessary parts of the data. So to have this table, we go to the Data tab, Data Analysis Tool Pack, Descriptive Statistics. You select your data, including the label. We tick the labeling first row. We put an output range, and then we tick the summary statistics. And it gives you the table. So, and that's one part of doing the, descriptive statistics. Then you can do some outlier analysis. Hopefully it is not too boring for you that if you already know this stuff. So we have 2 ways to calculate outlier. Empirical lower limit, and upper limit. And then we have Tokay's rule, lower limit and upper limit. So we can have these ones. Let's go home, make them a bit nicer. These ones. And then we have. So for the empirical rule, we have mean minus 3 times our standard deviation. We have this value. For the upper limit, we have mean plus 3 times our standard deviation. Then for Tokay, we have our Q1 minus 1.5 times our IQR, and we have our Q2 plus 1.5 times our IQR. Then we can format these values to numbers. Now we have these values. So at the end of the session, I will stop recording and I will be able to answer your questions about your assignment 1, if that's relevant to the dashboard. Good question. So now we have all of this calculation. We can see that the lower limit is smaller than our minimum. The upper limit is higher than our maximum. So there is no outliers there. Let me give it a bit of color. So that's for our age. Something else that we can do is we can select our data point and create it jumps. It doesn't allow me to click where I want. We can create a box and whiskers plot. Then we can put it is about age. We can get rid of unnecessary stuff. We can add chart elements and add data labels to the right. We can change the color of fonts into black. We can change the chart color to this color, for example. Then I'm changing the fonts if it allows me to something else. Bold, so you better can see this a bit better. So it shows that, you know, every information that we need about the spread of our data. You can create something like this one, the frequency or the bar chart. These are the things that we are going to use in our dashboard. So now you have created everything for your, first variable, age. Then you need to go to all of the other variables, do the same. So it is not just you don't know. For your assignment, you don't need to submit these parts, but you need to know your data set. So before that, before creating your dashboard, you need to do all of that stuff. So now assume that you have done all of these. We don't have time to go through all of the variables, but you get the point of doing that. Now we want to create our dashboard. First step, we have already done the first step. We have created a table out of our whole data set. Now I am going to select my whole data set and insert a pivot table. It says that we have the data table, correct? We named it data table. We are saying that create it in a new worksheet. Again, very good. And it is going to give us an empty sheet with our pivot table on the corner. So depending on what you want to create first, we need to name our sheet and then go from there. So everyone awake? Any questions? Yes, no? Any questions? No question. Thank you, Sam. Great. So we have an empty pivot table now. So guys, may I ask all of you, if you have any questions about your assignment, can you please give me, because it is distracting me, waiting to end of the presentation, then I can answer all of your questions. Just let's for the moment focus on what we are doing. Then I am going to go to test. So for the purpose of for the purpose of this, I just highlighted the data set and I asked it, to insert the box and whiskers plot. That's good. So now we want to create our dashboard. So let's assume that we first want to create this part of the dashboard, this pie chart. This pie chart. That's our first step. So it's the pie chart of credit card proportions. What proportions of people have that credit card every time? So to do so, let's be a bit more organized. Rename the sheet and name it pie chart. Credit proportion. Good. Something meaningful. Something that you can understand. So that's the name. For the pivot table, you go to pivot data analysis, again, name it. It is important that you name it in a way that you can understand. When we are going to add slices, it becomes very handy. So I name it pie chart. Again, credit proportion. So what we want to create, we want to see that what proportion of customers have each type of credit card. So I go here, drag and drop the credit card into a rows. It shows that we have none, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Then what else I can do? I can drag it and drop it here. Credit card, again, to count off credit card. So let me zoom in. Now it gives me 35 out of 200 people don't have any credit cards. 42 of them have bronze, 17 have silver, 58 gold, 48 platinum. So you know that when we are talking about proportions, we have a few options, a few different types of graphs to use. We have only 5 groups. The most, the easiest way to understand this variation in this data is to use a pie chart. So I select my data set. I go to insert, and I insert a simple pie chart. When you are creating dashboard, you don't need to be, super creative and use various colors or highlighting or shadowing. Simple. Try to be simple. So, and then we name it credit card proportion. So you can see that it says that each group, what proportion are they? So it's not still very well organized. Let me make a few changes there. First of all, I like to change it into another color. We can change it later when we put everything in one dashboard. But for now, think about, I change the color. I want to show you how to change. Then I go add chart elements. I go to add data labels. I ask for more label options. I want to have leader lines. I want to have values, percentages, and I want to have category name. Okay. And I click the best fit. Some of them are inside, some of them are outside. It decides. Okay. Some of them are not very well readable. So let me change the formatting of the colors. For now, assume that that's something readable. You're going to change it. Otherwise, you can go here, pick them, the ones that you want, and you say that for this one, I'd rather have a bold evaluation. It's not letting me to click on anything. I don't know if you can hear me or not. It seems that my internet is cut and I cannot access anything. Sorry, everyone. The computer decided to restart and something happened to it. I'm restarting the computer, and whenever I am able to log back, I'm going to join. You can have a short break, have a coffee or something. I don't know, it is internet or my laptop or something is going on. And I'm going to join the session soon. But meanwhile, I'm going to be connected here. So guys, you have any questions, anything to add? Let me leave it here. So in case you want to ask something. Anything? Thank you, Chris. It asked me to, using local login again. It says that your Mac is not connected to internet. I don't know how to solve, and it happens at the worst of time. You never know when it is going to happen. I'm logging in again. What if we can do for filter? I'm going to show you filter. We are going to use filter in one of the other charts that we are going to create. I'm going to show you as soon as I can log back in. I'm going to show you. No, we are going to use the filter in a way that does not affect everything that you have created. So to do not ruin. Sometimes using filters, when you change something, it suddenly ruins everything. No, don't worry. We're going to create it in a way that doesn't affect everything. The computer is turning on. So we have almost everything. Use the time to have a tea or coffee or something. It is connecting to Zoom. What pivot tables categories repeats? What do you mean by repeat? I cannot understand the question. You mean you have two categories with the same name? That's what you mean? So
Let me disconnect from this one.
So you should have me on my computer now. Share my screen. You're sharing a screen and it is recording. So everything should be all right at the moment. So guys, can you see my screen correctly? I'm going to answer your question. So let me go back to where I was. So let me delete this sheet and start from scratch. So we go to our raw data. We select the whole data set, including the titles. Let me save it so we do not lose again. We go to Dashboard Masterclass. We use it in class. Saved. So, okay, a few questions I'm going to answer. So let's select everything. We go to insert a pivot table. It says that from the data table into a new worksheet. We bring the sheet at the end. We name it pie chart for credit proportion. Let me turn off my camera. Probably the internet will work better a bit. So we should have something like this: a pivot chart, a pivot table that we name it pie chart. Let me delete the name completely. Pie chart credit proportion. So we have these. We go to credit card, drag and drop it here, drag and drop it here, goes to rows and to values. It will create something like this. If you want to change the order of rows here, you select one row, you move your mouse in a way that it changes to a hand, you drag it and drop it somewhere else. So I decided to have an order of none, bronze, silver, gold, platinum. You can change it. In the row label, same thing came out. It is usually not happening. It should not happen to have same label twice. It can be that one of them have, a wrong spelling, one of the values that you have, or you have dragged and dropped it twice here. It doesn't allow. To my knowledge, it would not allow. Then we select this and we go to insert. We insert a pie chart, something like that. You can add or remove this part of the chart. Chart, you can name it pie chart credit proportion. So you have everything there. You can change the design to something that you like. You can change the color to any color palette that you like. You change the title to credit card proportion, something like that. You add chart elements, you add labels, you say, I want to have data callouts, for example. Then you can go and for data labels, then you say that what you want to include. You want to have values, and you can have percentages. Now you have something like this. And you can change the format to the color. So sometimes there are some buttons on your chart. So if you go to charts, let's say where I will find your answer about how to removing the buff. Okay, I'm going to find it because I don't have it. I don't know where I can, remove it. If it comes in one of the charts, I will show you how to remove it. Probably in that. So, any more questions that I didn't answer? Hopefully, it was something, it was not too crazy. So now you can read this pie chart very easily. See that, like the gold at the highest proportion, it is 29%. Some of them are 21, 17, 24, and 9%. Different groups. They are at the moment in order. So that's something useful that we are going to use it in our dashboard. Let me go to the sample dashboard and think about these that we have, the country and the map. So it is a bit tricky. Not every data set and all the countries have the maps. We are lucky we have the Australia thing. So we can create something like this. So the easiest way to create another pivot table and pivot chart, it is by right-clicking on the previous one, click on move or copy, create a copy and moving it to the end. So now we have a copy of the same sheet. For this sheet, I am going to put states. What I want to have for the states, I can put income, states income. I decided I want to have income. So you can have anything, average income of different states. You can have average spending, average card holders, or whatever you decide. It depends on what you want. So the whole purpose of these steps is you step by step create different elements, and we are going to add all of them to one sheet, then add the slicers. So far, no slicers. And for the purpose of your assignment one, you can decide you want to have both, percentage and count, if it provides a better description of what's going on, or you can pick one, just a proportion. So it depends on you. I decided to have both. You can have either. So, and then we need to change our pivot chart. So I said that I want to have the income for different states. So I'm going to add the states to rows, remove credit cards, and add income as the values, and remove count of credit card as the value. So it shows something like that. So we have state in rows, sum of income in the value. So it doesn't give us enough information. It talks about the sum of the, all of the income. We don't need the sum. We want the average. We right click. So we summarize value as averages. Now we have average of income for different states and territories. We change the format to values. Sometimes when we have very large number, we don't even need the decimal point. Sometimes it depends on you. So we are going to go through all of the steps. We are going to create all of these elements. We finish this one. We are going to work on these, and at the end, we are going to create this heat map. So now we have this. To create these kind of maps, heat maps of actual map, it is going to be a bit tricky in Excel. So what we are going to do, we are going to select it, Control C. We are going to paste the spatial as values. We have it. We don't need the grand total. We change the title to Australia, so it understands that it is Australia. We select it. We go to Insert. We click on Map, Field Map, and it automatically understood that we are talking about Australia. Now we have something like this. Any questions? So we create our pivot table. We copy and paste it as values because these maps cannot be linked to pivot tables at the beginning. We copied it, pasted as values. We just went to change the title to Australia so it understands that we are talking about Australia. When we go to map, field map, it automatically understands that we are talking about Australia. So it creates something like this. If the data have something about states, it's nice to have it. So probably you didn't put a title of Australia here. It didn't understand it is Australia. Something that you need to do is when you go here to your chart, you go to select data and you change your data source to here. And you name it state for Australia. Now you have it. Now it is linked correctly. So 2 steps. So depending on the version of your Excel, it may be missing from your computer. You can Google it and find out how to add it. It depends on your Excel version. So you can put the title as average income, wage income. Now we have the average income. I change the color to any colors that I like. I prefer to have like this color, green. So we can see that Western Australia has the darker color, and it means that it has, the average income is higher there. So to link it, I clicked on select data, and here on the top, chart data range, I selected this table. I created the table and then moved it to the top table. Giorgio answered? Okay. You have this. You can add chart element. You can add data labels. And now you have the label. Sometimes it doesn't like, it doesn't understand some of the states. Here you can see that it does not provide anything for Tasmania. Or if we make it small or large, when we make it very small, Victoria is missing. So it depends on the size. For smaller parts, it doesn't have all of the values. But again, it is there, just we cannot see it. Okay. Now you have your map. And that's an actual heat map. When we call it heat map, this is the heat map. A map that the colors are changing. Any questions? So let's go. We have these two. Let's create this one. So it is average income by credit type and age group. So again, we go to our, let's change the name as well. Chart design, go to format, estates, income. So we have everything named when we want to. So now let me move a copy, create a copy, move to end, and okay. And sorry guys, again, the computer is playing, stuff. I feel that it is updating the OS, Mac OS, but it's out of my control. It is university computer. I cannot control it, but it does. So here, now we want to create something about the average income by credit type and age. So I name the sheet credit income age. Credit income age. Okay. I get rid of the chart. I don't need it. I don't need this part of it. Okay. I go back here. So for the purpose of this one, something that I want is to have age bands as my rows, okay, as my columns. Age band as columns. I do not want the states. The states gone. And then I have credit card as rows. So it gave me some information here. I can see that we have, for example, 30 to less than 40 group that don't have any credit card. The average income is 3,000. We can see that this group, for example, 50 or more that have platinum, their income is 6,400. I need to change the order for this one. Less than 30 is there, 32. Less than 40, 40 to 50, 50 or more. Now we have it. Let's rename it. We rename it, and we go to pivot table. I rename it income, credit, income, age band. You name it something that you understand it easily. Okay. Then you select the data, you go to insert, you insert one of these graphs, cluster column. It gives you something like this. You name it credit income age. You can change the color, go to design, change the color to something that you like. I like this color palette better than the other. You can add the chart title. Above the chart, you can type in, say that average income by credit type, credit card type, and age group. I change the font to black, and that's the information that I want. Any questions so far? Guys, sorry, I know that it is going to be a long session, but if you have any questions about this specific chart, now is a good time. You can add axis title, very good. For the horizontal, we don't need anything because it is clear that it is a credit card type. If you like, you can add. Going to design, add chart element, axis title, primary vertical, I can say average income. Average income in dollars. That's a good pick, Sam. Very good suggestion. Again, it depends on how you want to create this. So let me go to this sample dashboard. We have this average income by credit. I have a typo there. Credit type and age group. Now let's create something like the button. Average saving by credit type and age group. So the easiest way, move or copy, create a copy, move to end, create a copy. Now we have credit, saving, age. Saving, age. We bring down the saving. We turn off the credit. Sorry, my mistake. We bring down saving into values. We get rid of the average of income. We change it to show values as average. Pravina, I'm going to answer your question. So we change the name of this pivot table. We name it credit saving doesn't allow me to change credit saving age. And for the chart, same. Credit saving age. Average saving, credit type, and age group. Going to previous one. Then I type fast, I have several typos. So it is, then here we have average saving. So to answer the question, something that is important is changing the order of rows or columns. One, you select one of the rows, you move the mouse a bit so it changes to a hand. When it is in hand, you take it, drag it down, the order is changed. Then you take the noun, take it and put it back up. So that's how you change the order. Any questions? Now we are creating step by step, creating everything that we want. Now we have created these first four. Anything more, guys? Any questions? And no suffices. You can say no, no question. I'm not continuing till you say no. So any question, guys? I'm here. Anything. You know, sometimes I can be a pain. I'm going to read your names one by one. That's the trick. I want a bit of rest. I'm typing too fast. So no questions. That's great. So let's create something like that. Guys, I picked these different types of graphs just to show you how, you know, versatile Excel is. Anything that you want to create. So now we want to create something like this, average spending per age group. Okay. So we go to our last sheet. We move a copy. We create a copy. We move to end. And we say, we name it age and spending. Age, spending. Age, spending. We have this age spending. We don't need this graph. What we want? What are the things that we want? Let's have all of the age bands as rows. Age bands as rows. We don't want the credit card. For the purpose of these, I want each of the spending separately, not the total spending. I want to have the spending on transport. Let's get rid of saving. On home, on groceries, on health, on entertainment, and on eating out. All of them in the same table. We have group of less than 30, 30 to 40, 40 to less than 50, 50 or more. You can reorder it. And you have these values. You right click, change everything to average. Second one, change to average. Third one, change to average. Don't know why my computer is so slow and jumps. Whenever I click somewhere, it jumps somewhere else. So you can see that, for example, this group spends more on transport than the other group. Or you can see that in general, 50 or more are spending more than any other group in general. Or we can see that, yeah, for everything they're spending is more. But again, that's just random data, you know? So we select this data, select it, go to insert. I pick one of these graphs, something like this. So I selected it, I went to insert. Let's rename it and say spending spending age, and the graph again. Spending H. Let's change the format a bit. I do not like this color in general. I change it to this color, or not best choice. This one. Let's add a title. Chart title above the chart. Name it average spending by average spendings by age group. You can add your own. I double click on this one. Doesn't give me all the options. So you can see that it provides lots of values. By editing them, you can change the format of your pivot chart. So I selected my data set. I went to insert. I picked the first one, this column chart, and it gives me 2D bar, selected the second one, a stacked bar. Answer the question, Giorgio? I feel that if we put it on the bottom, it's going to be nicer. We have the axis. You can change the axis. You can change the format. You can add the color. I am going to change the color to black. I am going to design, add chart elements, and ask for the data labels. Inside, center. Now we have the values there. I select and change the color one by one and make it white. So better readable. And again, it is slow. Any questions? I want to make it in reverse order. In the axis options, I check the categories in reverse order. So we have less than 30 on top and the rest on the bottom. That's just my preference. You can do it the way that you like. So now you have something like this. Guys, any questions? Anything that you want to ask?
Yes. So how do you put the number on the diagram?
Put the numbers? Yeah. I selected
diagram has the number on it.
Yeah, I went to design. I went to add chart elements, and I click on the data labels.
Okay. Understood. Okay, thank you, sir.
No worries. Can we add the total number in the end of spending? And it is tricky. Shane, it is a very good question. It's a very good question. How we can add the total spending? We can, unless we add another something extra. and add a total and add the total spending to our table. And then we say that that's the total, change it to average of total and add it. But again, it is going to ruin our graph. You can get rid of the extra data, but again, that's not something that I suggest. Unless you are going to go an extra mile, adding as a secondary, as a secondary axis and put it behind so it can come outside it or be side by side. But again, it is not an easy option or a clean option. It's not very difficult, but it is not clean. So how we reverse data? We selected our axis. We went to format our axis. We went to the last option, axis options, and click categories in reverse order. Horizontal axis, we can put it top or bottom, depending on where you want. Mert answered your question? Mert answered your question? You got your answer? Don't worry, you can do it together. You select your axis. Sometimes if you double click, it opens it. On the right-hand side, you have the axis options. You click here and go and pick the categories in reverse order. Hopefully you can find it. In the Windows Excel, it is a bit different sometimes. So now we have this one. We have this, and that. And now we want to create these heat maps. These heat maps are the difficult one. Okay. So let's go to our, again, last pivot table. Let's take a copy, move to end, move to end, and we call it just heat map. We just call it heat map. Heat map. Okay. We get rid of the table that we have. If I go back to our sample, you can see that we have different age groups. We have the total spending, average spending per different credit card holder type. Okay. So I go to my heat map. I go to pivot chart information. I get rid of all of this stuff that are there. And I put the total spending there. And right click, make it as an average. So far, you should be able to create. Okay, I figured out that this also need to change to this. Ah, that's good, Chris. You solved the issue. Okay. So the dashboard your dashboard doesn't involve a heat map. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. But again, for the purpose of this presentation and this unit, I want you to have access to all, learn about all different techniques, and then you can decide which ones you want. Okay. And sometimes that heat map may, convey the message better, sometimes not. It depends on you. That's all. So, but we are going to do something different. Let's name it heat map total. And I will let you know why I named it total. Something different that I want to do with this pivot chart is using filters. So let's add a filter, credit card as our filter. Now we have credit card, all of them together here. Okay. So you have a pivot table. This pivot table has a filter, rows, values as an average of total spending, age band, credit card, everything set. So what we are going to do is copying it, Control C and Control V. For the second one, I want you change it to, instead of selecting all, you select none. It means that it is just for the group that doesn't have a credit card. You go to design, to pivot table, change it to heat map none. Okay. You make a copy, again going under the other one. If it pastes, it would be good. You change it from none to bronze and you name it heat map bronze. Go to the next one. So you need to create these pivot tables, one for each category. You change it to silver. Name it again, heat map silver. Another one for gold. Heat map gold. Let me create something for platinum. And then I'm going to answer all of your questions. Heat map. Do we have to format the pivot table in order to copy and paste it? Because it gives me a little trouble. No, you do not need to format it yet. For this, mine cannot change a different type if I change one. All change. Probably you have. It should not happen at this stage. If you change it in the later stages when you are connecting your slicer, we will solve it. But at the moment, it should not. Because if you, we are, for now, we are just adding what we have. So it should not be a problem so far. We are going to solve the issue. We are on the same page. My charts are on separate tab. A very good question. What if you put all of the pivot tables on the same sheet and then using it on the on the dashboard, the chart, taking the chart. The issue with that is when we use slicers or filters, they may overlap and it deletes part of the data. If you are putting everything in the same sheet, make them as far as possible, leave at least like 5 cells in between them. Do not put them next to each other. If you put it into different sheets, it would be great. So hopefully I answered your question. If you have, because
Am
I
I
saw
able
that
to speak?
Yeah, you can.
Sorry, what I meant was I have my so where I've created each chart or graph, they're on separate pages to my dashboard. So my dashboard has all my charts and everything, including my slices. But what you're doing here, it looks like you're adding all the pivot charts on one tape, like on one page. Is that what we need to do, is what I'm asking?
Okay, to answer
So
your
right now,
question.
one pivot chart that's connected to my graph is on one page. The next page will be another pivot chart connected to a different graph.
Okay, that's the thing that we are doing. So we have each of the sheets, we have a pivot table, a pivot chart, a pivot table, a pivot chart, and we are going, but at the end, I'm going to put everything in one sheet as the dashboard. Did I answer
Okay.
your question?
Yes,
Or
thank
no?
you.
For the moment, we are trying to keep everything clean, having it separately, then trying to put it in the same page later. So let's have just 1 minute break so I can catch my breath. You do create all of these tables and then we continue. Just 1 minute so I can have some water. Okay, good. So let's leave these heat maps at the moment aside. Let's go to our dashboard. Try to put all of the elements in one sheet, and then bringing these values to our dashboard. So far, just leave it aside. Okay. So I'm adding a sheet. I'm going to name it dashboard. Please know that for the purpose of your assignment, only this dashboard is going to be marked. Whatever you have on the other sheet, they are not marked. But again, you needed to create them to have your dashboard here. Think about, we pick this space for our dashboard. You pick your. I like to pick a few cells. Merge and center and type my title there. I call it Finance Tech Dashboard. Something I change the cell style to my heading. Something we can add a background, a bit of background color, whatever you like. But that's something that I put there. Let's go and bring all of the pivot charts to this one. So I'm going to bring my power chart, Control C, bringing it to my dashboard. I put it somewhere. We are going to format my map. Oh, not copied. That's weird, it's not pasting. Okay, finally. You can see that how slow is my computer today. So we have everything other than our heat map and our slices here. So-
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think I missed the information. So where can we like have the dashboard? Where can we have this dashboard square?
I create an empty sheet. I just put it, put some borders for it. And I'm going to put everything inside this. You create one empty sheet. But for your assignment, I feel that there is an empty sheet there that you can use. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay, understood. Thank you, sir.
No worries. So what did you name for each of the tables? For each of the tables, it depends on you. For these ones, I put heat map total, heat map none, heat map bronze, and so on. Any more questions? So now I have everything here. I decided to leave 2 columns for my slicers. Then I want to fill the rest with these graphs. So, and leave some space for my heat map. So I make this one. I change the size of the other. I can put this one up here. Guys, I know that with your assignment, you are going to put it in a meaningful way. I'm just randomly putting them. You can put it in a more meaningful way. You can make them nicer, more appealing if you go to format and say that like the first one is 4 by 5.5 the tops, 5.5. And then for the second one, you can do the same. So they are exact same, 5.5, 5.5. You see that they are the same size. Now for these ones, you can make them a bit bigger and then go to format, say that I want it to be on 4 by 6.5. 6.5 for this one. How much was it? 4 by 6.5. Maybe too big. You know that you can format it. So we have all of this information there. So, and now I want to put my heat map somewhere. Okay. First of all, I need to type in all of my headings there. So let me type it here. So please type these values. Average spending by age. Okay. And you type credit card type. And they have total, non, bronze, silver, gold, platinum. And then we are going to add values there. Don't worry about their place. They are going to move a bit until we have everything there. It may take a few seconds. So if you have this ready, you can say that the value that I want to be in the first cell is going to be from my heat map for the group less than 30. And you enter. So it is picking something from our heat map and from A4. Sometimes it comes with an error. We want to avoid an error, saying that if there is an error, just keep it empty. So we say that if our heat map A4 is empty, double quotation, open double quotation, close means that empty. If it is empty, sorry, if it equals empty, then give us the value of empty. Otherwise, give me the value of this heat map. So, and you drag it, and you have all of your groups. I'm going to fix this thing. Any questions so far? Hopefully I was able to bore you. You know, you're not bored. The formula, yes, that's correct. I'm going to copy and paste the formula. That was a good suggestion. Great. What else? So for this value, for the first value, we are going to put equal sign, go to our heat map. We are thinking about total or all, okay? We click on heat map and we click on the value that we want. We enter. Now it copied the value from there, okay? Then to avoid any error, we want to ask it if error. If it comes with error, then give me an empty cell. So it is fixed. Okay. If it is an error, so let me repeat the steps. Equal sign, go to heat map, click on the first value for all, enter. Now you have it. We add the formula if error at the beginning, open parentheses at the end, comma, open quotation, open double quotation, close double quotation, and close the parentheses. So error. I missed F. So you have this value.
So
Go ahead. Ask
yes.
your question.
So do we need this chart in our assignment? Like, do you need to show this chart?
Per se, no. But again, if it helps you to show that, to show the marker that you know all of the techniques, you know how to create, and this is very helpful when you are, having large amount of data.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. So again, if you want to get 100% mark, probably you need it.
Okay.
But again, if you like 80 is enough for you, then don't. If everything is. Probably now I'm going to copy. It is not finished yet, this formula. So you can see that if I drag it down, it is going just to copy the same value. Same value for, let me zoom just to this part of the thing. We are going to zoom out at some point. You can see that it is copying the same value. So we need to fix this issue. Because when you copy it, it is not fixing. The address is static. To make the address dynamic, you go to your formula, delete that part, the last part, and instead of that, click on this, less than 30, and enter. Now, if you drag it, all of the values are there. Now I can copy and paste the formula. And I'm going to repeat it again. So if I delete everything, we say it equals sign, we go to heat map, we pick the first value, we enter, we go back, we add if error, open bracket, go to end, comma, open double quotation, close double quotation, close bracket, enter. You have these, then you get rid of the last part, and click on less than 30 and enter. And now you have it. And you drag it and it copies everything. We are going to fix the formatting later. For the second one, you go, again, do the same. This time you go to your heat map, go to non-table, enter, and you see the formula. You do all of the steps. If error, then you go comma, add everything, go here, change it to an address instead of having the formula, and then should be able to drag. Can you please repeat it for the rest of the columns? So again, for bronze, we're going to go to heat map, go to bronze, and we enter it, we change it. I know it is going to take a bit of time. We have too many groups. But again, it's worth it. Drag it, equal sign, heat map of first silver, enter, and then do the if error thing. Last part, enter, and drag it. I don't know any shortcuts. If you know any shortcuts, type in the chat box. I am happy to follow your lead. Error. And you got the idea. So let's forget about the last ones. I'm going to share a good one with you. Guys, still, can you hear me, or again it is disconnected because it shows that it cannot save it? Okay. It says can't save. I don't know why. But again. So you should have something like this, and you can feel it, and you can go to the rest of it and, you know, create everything. I will upload the recording after we finish. You know, it may take a few hours to process, but I'm going to publish it after the thing. And I'm going to give probably the YouTube link is going to be ready just after the class. So now let's go and add some slicers to see how it goes. So we click on one of them. You go to your pivot chart analysis, you insert and slicer. You go, I want one for age band, one for state, and one for credit card. These are the three that we want. I'm going to put them on this side. Let's try to make them nicer. And age bands here. You got the idea, making them clean. Okay. Now you have all of these are linked to the first graph. Okay. you can see that when you click, it updates, it updates, it updates. And now you have partly interactive dashboard. It is partly interactive. Okay. So let's right click on the first one, edge band. Right click and report connections. In the report connections, now you have named everything. You can say that I want this edge band linked to my first graph. That's pie chart. Then I do not want to be linked to my heat map. I want it to be linked to credit saving, credit income, and my state income. So to these four. Okay. And spending age. Again, it becomes meaningless if it's linked to first one, but let's see. So the first one is now interactive. Guys, remember, for now, we did not link this to our heat map. Okay. You can see by clicking on one, everything is updating. Everything is updating. And everything is updated. That's so far for the first one. Click on that second one, report connections. We decide to connect it to all of our heat maps, all of these heat maps that we have. We want to link to our credit saving, credit income, spending age, but again, no point to link it to our map. Then by clicking on one, everything is going to be updated. One thing that you need to do is select your heat map, change the formatting into number, $sign, make it dollar. You can get rid of all the decimal points. Then you can select it, conditional formatting. You can go to data bars or color scales and pick the color scale that you like. So the bigger the value, the greener, the smaller the value, the whiter. So I have created this one for you. I just made it a bit cleaner. This is the one that I was practicing last night. So those buttons work because we copied the original pivot table. That's a very good point. Sometimes when you have several pivot tables, they do not link easily to each other. Then you need to link each of the slices separately to separate pivot tables. It is going to be a bit difficult. Yes, the best idea is copying one. You missed how to create? You select one of your graphs, you go to pivot chart analysis, you insert a slicer. You say which slicer you want, and it adds. Can I link slicer with all charts? No, it becomes meaningless. Sometimes, like linking state to this graph is a bit meaningless. What's the point? Okay. It is not just you randomly linking everything together. Especially one major issue is because you had a filter for credit type. You had, if you go to our heat map, we had all of those filters there. Okay, so here's the thing. It is not opening the right hand side. Sorry guys, I lost the right hand side. It's not bringing it. Anyone knows how I can bring them back? Analysis. Here's this. That was the one okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mama. That's the thing I clicked once and it didn't open. I thought that I'm missing something. Thank you. So for this one, because we had this credit card, that's a mistake in, a typo. So if you link the credit card type, this credit card slicer to this one, it is going to ruin everything. So don't link it. Don't link your slicer for credit card to this one, to Heatmap, because it has a filter for it. And you change the color, format it in a nice way. Are we allowed to leave our pivot charts in the dashboard? Actually, that's the thing. That's your pivot charts in your dashboard, Lauren. So that's your dashboard. So it has all of the pivot charts plus heat map plus everything. So yes, at the end, you are going to leave everything in the dashboard. How to link the slicer to multiple graph one more time, please. Yes, that's all. So you right click on one of them. If it opens, you go to report connections. And now you have all of your pivot charts and pivot tables, everything there. You can easily link them together. That's the one I created last time. The names are a bit different. Any more questions? Sorry, guys, I know that I took a very long time. It is Friday afternoon, and it was that issue with the internet, and we lost a bit of time. So, guys, any more questions? Anything about your assignment, anything else? For some reason, the copy and pasted formula for the heat map data didn't work. Would you be able to show how to get the data again? For the heat map, yes, that's correct. For the heat map. So okay, let me delete this data point, the first one. So I'm going to say for the first one, Sam, let me zoom in a bit. Equal sign, if it allows me to type. I go to my heat map. I am talking about the total. I go to my all, select the first one, and I put enter. But being able to copy it across and bringing down is difficult. So I am going first add if error to the beginning of it, open bracket, go to end, comma, open and close double quotations, and enter. One other thing that I want, I want to get rid of the last part which says less than 30 years. I delete that part. Instead, click on the title that we have, less than 30 years. So in this way, I can copy it down to other cells. Otherwise, you need to do it one by one. Hopefully it was helpful. Let me copy and paste it again with the new ones. It depends on where you have put it. Sam, you got your answer? No worries. Then we have Muhammad. I'm still confused on when you shouldn't or should link a slicer to a pivot table. Could you elaborate more? That's a very good question. If it allows. Okay, let's look at the dashboard that we have. So think about, we link this slicer about this date to this one. What is the point of it? Let me add. It is not linked to our state income. It is now linked. When I click on something, everything is ruined. Okay? Because it becomes meaningless if you want to, now you have a map. Okay? What if you want to delete part of it and keep some? It becomes no point on doing so. Or for this one, we have credit cards in different, credit card proportion. We have not linked the last slicer to that. Let me add it to see what we are going to get from it. So let's say report connection, and I link it to my pie chart, credit pie. So when I say now we have like 17% or none, I click on none. You see, everything is gone and 100% is none, or 100% bronze. So what information it gives us? Nothing. We want to keep the stuff, link the slicers to the pivot charts that are adding value. Let me remove it. Credit pie removed. So now when I click on bronze, this is updated, useful. This is zoomed in, we have just bronze. This is zoomed in, just bronze. This is just for bronze card holders. And this one again, because we have bronze already, no need to link to that. Usually with the heat maps, it is not very useful to add link the slicers to them if it is within the rows or the columns. Go ahead.
So I have a question. Sorry. So about the pie chart that it's on my side, when I press the slicers, the pie chart only shows it shows different percentage when I press the different slicers. Slicer.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but
okay.
Yes, but it's showing the whole piece. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't know how I can make it into, like, if I want to.
Because you have probably connected it to the credit card slicer. When you select bronze, it is all of the bronze, 42 of them 100%, gold 58 of them 100%, platinum 48 100%.
Yes.
So it is, when you filter out, it says that out of 48 that are kept within our sample, all 100% are platinum. So it is always going to give, when you pick one of them, it is going to give 100% and the number that are there.
So that's not right?
That's not useful. Yeah, that's not correct.
Okay.
We don't need to have that. Pravinda, couldn't we just copy and paste the heat map values onto the dashboard without a formula? No, because it is not updating. Now, look, we have that state. When we select the state, I link the state to this, the slicer state to this one. It is updating. If you just copy and paste, usually it is not working, especially if you some of the you know, especially when you have empty cells. But again, some of the newer versions of Excel solve the issue. They do not come with errors. But again, you need to be careful. You just copy and paste the values, or will now Shane, same question. Sudaba. I use a picture on one of my graphs, so I was wondering where to put the reference. So we usually do not need to put a reference for this assignment, okay? And I don't know why you use the picture, because picture is not going to add any value, because everything that we are doing is we are trying to point out that we have, you know, we are giving the manager the option to see the data, to see what's going on, and being able, you know, to copy and to make decision out of this data. So a picture copied from somewhere, I don't know if it adds any value. But again, if you use something, you can have, you know, you can see that here I have put something saying that this data is created by me for the purpose of this dashboard masterclass. Below your dashboard, you can put the source there, saying that this picture is copied from there. But again, it is up to you if you want to keep it. We don't have a reference list for this assignment or for any other assignments. We are not referencing to anything. Everything is based on our own analysis. Can we make bands for numerical data the way we did with age? Yes. Yeah, we can. We can say that low income, high income, low spending, high spending. And that's a very good thought, Lakshana. It is very helpful. When you do that, then, you know, without this age band, you couldn't compare and contrast, because slicers only work with the categorical data. So you create if you feel that it is adding some value. Yes, that's a good idea. But again, depending on the context. Bree, my graph keeps changing size as I click my slices. Do you know how I can? So probably if you go to format and put a size, it may fix it. I know the issue. Sometimes, you know, when you click on the slices, it changes the height of the cells and it changes. I know the issue, but again, try to play with these values and link them together or unlink and see how it goes. I know the issue. I'm aware of the issue, and I don't know exactly how we can fix it in all situations. But again, if you put the size, most of the time it keeps the size, unless you know you manually changed the data label on pie chart. Okay, let's go on the pie chart. It is Mohammed's question. You go to pie chart, you go to, there is the design, add chart element, you go to data labels, more data labels, and you click category name, value, percentage, and you don't need delete. So you have everything there. Hopefully, do we always need to label the axis? Really depends on the content. Here, for this graph, we don't need to label it because it is very clear. It is, you know, age. We say less than 30 years. So it is age. So, or here I put average income by credit type. So I didn't need. But again, most of the time, especially if you have different types of data, it is good to have it. So here, if I had average income and average saving, it would be very useful. It made it easier for people to understand what's going on. So better to have label for access. For like horizontal access, for this one, I don't know how useful, but again, it depends on you.
Hello, sir.
Let's give a sec. Do you mind waiting for a second because the questions are accumulating? I answered everyone and then you unmute and ask your question. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
You
can call me William. Yeah.
William. Yeah, sure.
William.
William.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, give me a few. So, if it is you're putting something in the background, you can have it, but again, sometimes adding those pictures may, make the thing less readable. Even sometimes when I create a dashboard, I go to view and I try to get rid of everything. So there is nothing, even the grid lines and the formula bar and headings, I tick off everything. So make everything very clean. But again, it depends on you. If you feel that it is adding value, add it. But again, it is up to you.
Thank
So,
you.
give me a sec. I turn off my.
So
Sorry, Reza, I think you're on mute.
I think maybe it's the connection problem. I think he can hear us too. No.
Everyone here?
Yes, yes, yes. I can hear it right now. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. It seems that this,
Connection problems.
I don't know. This is something going on with my computer. Sorry.
Okay, it's
Sorry,
okay. Yeah, because
probably.
we try to like tell you when you were
Because I
explaining,
was reading the questions. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
yeah, I
Okay.
think you can't hear us either. So yeah.
No, I couldn't. I don't know what's the issue. What's
Okay, okay.
my computer is not working properly. Last night when I was, uploading the data set, my computer turned off and I couldn't turn it on for like 1 hour, 2 hours. I was trying to turn it on and it was not. It's a new Mac and I don't know what's wrong. So sorry guys for the
Okay.
trouble. So William, you ask your question, and I feel that a few of your friends have a question about this map. I'm going to redo it again for them. So you ask your question first, and then I will go.
Sorry, so it's my turn to ask. Okay. So
Sure.
actually, yeah, do you remember that I previously asked about the pivot table? Like I want to like to create a pivot table about the satisfaction type, and I believe that's where we type it ourselves. But there are some same categories keep repeating on the label. So for example, like there are like acceptable and like satisfaction and so and next etc. But like the acceptable appears twice on the label, on the pivot table. I don't know. I don't really know how to fix it because it will influence on the further charts that I create. So
no, I understand what you say.
Yeah.
Technically, it should not happen at all, because Excel will try to put everything in the same, merge them together. The issue can be maybe when, for one of those, like here in my data. So if instead of 40 or less, for some of them, I just put something, I hit the keyboard and I put something by mistake, even the sentence, if the sentence is very similar, then it will consider them as two different groups. Then can be a reason. Like here, instead of new source fields, I put new source fields R. Okay. If I go and refresh all, if I go to my dashboard, you can see that I have here new source fields R. It can be just you typed in a space or something that it cannot understand. That may be the issue. Because technically, Excel will not allow a repeat. Okay? Go and double check to make sure that everything is in place, nothing is repeated. If so, copy and paste, download the data set again, and start from scratch, just checking to see if the problem is solved.
Okay.
That's the only thing that I can think of. Otherwise, if you are a Bearwood student, you can come to lecture. After the lecture, I can check for you.
You mean later?
Monday after the lecture, if you are at Bearwood.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, I understood. So, okay, I'll try and maybe you can answer some other people's question first, and maybe I have some further questions. I'll come back to you. Thank you.
Sure. No worries. So, Connor, I don't know you left or you are here. I should try to showing you everything, and I was on mute. Okay. So the thing is, let me fix first that data thing. Put it back as new source fields. And then go to table, refresh all. I go to here. I created that pivot table, state as rows, income, average income as values. I copy the whole table. I paste it as paste values. I put the title as Australia, so it understands it is Australia. Sometimes it doesn't understand. Sometimes, you know, instead of WA, you can put Western Australia, type it in. You select this data set, this table that you create. You go to insert, maps. Now you have your map. Then you go select data and you change the data range to here. And you click OK. Now it is linked to the pivot table. You delete the unnecessary stuff. Hopefully it is fixed. You can do that. Guys, I just started. Let me stop recording at the end. Thank you for attending. So I am starting a new YouTube channel. In this YouTube channel, I am going to tell stories about analytics, teach people how to do some analysis, what is business analytics in general. I called it Analytics Tales. I put the link here. I just launched it a few days ago. So if you want, you can subscribe and see what's going on. You are going to see a few, nice videos there that can be helpful for your workplace, for your future analysis, not just this unit only, for further, down the road. Any more questions? So it seems that there is no more question. William has a question. Go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, so I found something really interesting, but so it's hard to can I show you my Excel?
Sure, share your screen.
Yeah, sorry, sir. So
that's all right.
Yeah, okay. So just like I said, I having an issue of creating the pivot table of this. Maybe I'll just demonstrate. Okay, so I'll just quickly demonstrate. So for example, for right here, I would like to create a pivot chart of my thing. So I'll just quickly create one to show you the issue. Okay. Yes. So I would like to for example, I would like to create a certification type, columns, and clients. Here, and maybe the salesperson here. But like for right here, you can see there are two exact same categories.
Can you move your mouse? Acceptable.
Yes.
Acceptable.
But just give me one more second. So, but what if I demonstrate in different ways? Like here's the data set. Wait. So here's the data set, and for example, I create it from here. And existing worksheet. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second.
Sure. No, I understand what you say.
Yeah. And if I create it like this, there's no error. It's just created normally. So do you see the issue? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I've never seen this issue. I just thought that. Can you go to your data set?
Yes, no problem. Because I just
go to the satisfaction type and sort it.
Sorry, I don't know why it came so down below. Yes. Okay. Yes. Wait.
So it is sorted now. Yes.
Yeah, sorted. Yeah.
Click on the sort. It even doesn't show any other category there. It just shows everything correctly. Because when you click on that, thing,
Yeah, there's
shows
no
that.
two acceptable categories. There's only one. So it shouldn't be another acceptable categories when I create a pivot table, right? So like logically, but
To be frank, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Sorry. I can Google and try to find.
okay, then maybe because
Send me an email. Send an email to me. And
okay.
on weekend, I'm going to check it and try to find an answer.
Yeah, because this category, I believe, when I went to the seminar, Mr. Stephen Williams told me that this category is essential. It's essential categories that I must have.
Yeah, I know that's
Yeah, yeah.
essential in your assignment. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
know, but
in
sorry, I
my-
don't
on my-
know.
Yeah, but so like on my dashboard, I would like to put it right here on the client satisfaction. I should be putting right here, but I can't insert that data set because of the error. So maybe I'll just
One of the students is suggesting something. Okay, William, back to your dashboard. Please do not use these many colors and background. Make it as simple as possible.
oh really? Okay.
If you want to create something professional, do not put those backgrounds, those colors, or those cones. Make it as simple as possible. You saw mine. Not
okay.
the
I don't need to
3Ds
be
are
that
not.
complicated.
No,
Okay,
no, the 3D is not good. It doesn't read very well and something like that.
Okay,
So
I'll just
make them all of them as simple as you saw mine. There were nothing there.
okay.
So Priyan, she says that just remove satisfaction from the column area. The satisfaction column is missing from the current data set in the assessment resource area. Constructive criticism. So to be frank, I don't know about the issue. I should try. I should try and work with the data set to see what's going on. Okay.
Okay, so maybe I'll just send an email to you. So maybe you can get a little notice of this. Maybe when I get marked, then
Chris is saying that satisfaction type is not in the current data set. Is it correct?
yeah, we create this data set. Like we type it all these by ourselves because we have this satisfaction type here. So like there are like
based on the values that were there.
Yes, these are the values. And here we have the value besides the type. So we can base on the value to give the correct.
I understand. Yeah. So Chris, you learned something.